We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the 3 o'clock session, FHSU's experience with Arctic Wolf. Arctic Wolf, as you probably know, that's why you're here. It's an MDR solution. It's I think, similar to CrowdStrike, which I know K-State and probably others of you have used. We're going to talk about our experience. This first part, I'm going to tell you kind of the why we implemented Arctic Wolf. It will be probably the least exciting, the least informative. I will run through it really fast, and then I'll turn you over to these guys. And feel free to ask questions along the way as we go. My name is Mark Griffin. I'm the Assistant VP for Tech Services and CIO, and so I kind of got us started down this road. But the people that did the real work are Jason Huxman, here on the far right. He's our Information Security Officer, and Derek Johnson, who's Director of Networks and Technology Support. And another guy that's not here is Michael Fabian. He manages our server operations team. So they were kind of the three guys that really did most of the work, I would say. Anyway, we'll move through this pretty quick. What prompted the adoption of Arctic Wolf Managed Detection and Response? Basically, pressure from our cyber insurers. If you were here in the last session, they talked about that a little bit. They want us to have some kind of 24/7 MDR, or even better would be a 24/7 SOC. This doesn't quite meet that, but it is certainly a step in the right direction. We also have, obviously, existing cyber threats, ransomware, all kinds of incidents. I think probably all of us at various times have had incidents, and those will continue. We also have a very small security staff. If you want to talk security specifically, Jason's my staff. That's it. So he's the team. Obviously, server admins, network admins, those guys contribute, but they're not really security. That's not the main part of their job. Also, we got state funding for cybersecurity. Yay! Lots of us got that. That made it possible for us to even look at this. Without that, this wouldn't have been something we could even consider. And then the big part of it, we did a competitive bid for MDR services, and a little surprising to us, though we did want them, Arctic Wolf actually came in as the low bid. And before anybody asked, CrowdStrike did not bid. So whether they would have won, have no idea, but they did not bid. And I told you somebody would ask that. We were talking about that on the way here, and we had like 5 or 6 bids, and I don't remember, but I could have looked that up. I've got that in a file. I could provide that to you probably tomorrow or next week sometime. So, nope, I knew somebody would ask, and I should have looked it up, but I did not. That was clear back last December, really, when we did the bid. So, okay, some of this information you've probably seen. This comes from Arctic Wolf. Other vendors provide similar kind of information. Ransomware is 15 times more likely than business email to lead to an incident response engagement. And ransom demands, they've been surging 20% year over year. Arctic Wolf says that the average is about $600,000 for a ransom. If you're in the last session, they said that it's closer to $1 million. I actually believe theirs a little closer, but whatever. To me, once you get over about $100, it's a lot of money. So, business email compromise is an unacknowledged, unyielding threat to global organizations. Nearly half of all successful attacks are driven by credential reuse. Threat actors succeeding en masse by exploiting 2-year-old vulnerabilities. So, if you're not patching stuff, that causes a problem. Types of incident response, ransomware is really close to 50%, email compromises are 30%, other network intrusions 15%, and then there's just a few other little things. So those are kind of the big things that we have to worry about, and I think we've all had to deal with them. Is there anybody here that has not dealt with an email compromise? I can't imagine. I mean, we all have. This talks about initial ransom demand by industry. You see education is in there, shows 650,000. To me, that still seems a little low, but I know it gets brought down probably by your smaller colleges, your bigger universities, K-State and KU. I don't know what K-State's was. I assume it was more than that, but I don't really know. So what does Arctic Wolf provide to Fort Hays? They are managed. They provide managed detection and response notifications. They have a concierge team. They provide 24/7 coverage. That's really the best part. They help with managed containment. They do threat hunting. They have a triage team. They do manage risk. They will do vulnerability assessments. They do that for us on a regular basis. They help with attack surface coverage, provide security controls, benchmarking, account takeover risk, COD security. They also provide managed security awareness and phishing campaigns. The managed security awareness, that is basically security awareness training. We do not use their product for that, though we could. Actually, the three of us kind of like it. It does the security awareness training year-round, and you get periodic emails from them. And they're just little short snippets of training. It takes you 2 or 3 minutes. I ran this up to our administration. They preferred, we just want to do all our training at one time, get it over with. And so in the month of October, actually mid-October to mid-November, we do a security awareness training. They go through about an hour-long training rather than doing these short little snippets year-round. We have just started using the phishing campaigns. That looks really cool. Jason will probably talk about that a little bit more later. And really the big thing is they provide additional knowledgeable staff 24/7 to us, which means we have more staff fighting the bad guys. And so how do they provide this? We have regular bi-weekly meetings. I say bi-weekly. It's about every 2 to 3 weeks we meet with them. And we review a variety of security issues, different settings, configurations within Arctic Wolf, but also they provide insight, ideas, recommendations to Active Directory, to firewalls, to a variety of different things. They're just experts in security, and so those meetings are very helpful to us just to get an outside perspective. They have inline network sensors, scanning for known issues. They do log ingestion for us from Office 365, Sophos, Duo, Active Directory, our servers, our firewalls, and they have an agent that runs on virtually all of our endpoints. They also monitor the internet and dark web for possible compromised accounts. As you might guess, some of those are old information, but you know, from time to time, they do get new information. So they run external vulnerability scans, and they report those findings to us. And they have their software developed for running phishing campaigns. And so now, the more exciting part, I'll turn this over to Derek. He'll talk about the implementation and configuration.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
how are you going to pay for next year?
That is a great question. When we got our money, I don't remember the exact amount, but we got $600 and some odd thousand. We bought 4 years of this up front, and so it was a little over $400,000, a little over $100,000 a year, which I'm not going to say it was a bargain, but we felt it was reasonable. And so, yeah. So anyway, we've got 4 years. Unfortunately, I'm planning to work for 5, so I'm not quite sure. What we'll do after that. But like we talked about this the other day, 4 years is a long time, and things can change. And I know Canran has talked about adding this type of service. That's going to take a little while to get that in play if they do it, so there may be options with them at some point. So that's kind of where we're covered for now. Okay.
I think that another point to that is it gives us time to figure out if this is going to be worth it to renew in the end. And it's going to take a lot of time to get to that point too. So I'm glad we bought 4 years of it.
Right, it'll be interesting to see how they implement AI as exponentially as it is growing, and see where it takes them, so, with us too, so.
If you're like me, when you're watching a presentation, you want the meat and potatoes. You want to know how it's all actually doing what they claim they do. So I was going to give a little bit of information on what they had us do to get the information that they need. The first part is they have sensors that they want you to put in line between your firewall and your campus network so that they can see what's passed through the firewall and everything that's going out. They really prefer that you use their tap, but the problem is that they have it's an active tap, so it negotiates a connection. So if you use any type of link state protocol for anything, it breaks that. So we decided we weren't going to do that because we use a lot of lags. So we went with the mirroring route to get our internet traffic to them. This is kind of how it's laid out. Really, actually, right now, we only have the left side. We're in the process of adding the right side. We don't have the redundant core up yet. But basically, each core has one connection to each sensor. So if one sensor goes down, the other sensor is collecting that information, even though the other one's down. They actually do a really good job of collecting that information and what's the word I'm looking for? Deduplicating it. So they know that this, it came into both sensors, but it's the same thing, so just store it once.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, did you lose any granularity in the data by going mirror instead of tap?
That was why they wanted to go with the tap. We don't know what we missed, but that was a concern that they had.
There's potential.
Yeah. I did ask if they could do passive sensors because that would be awesome. We'd totally put it in line. That'd be fine, but they don't have it yet. So like I said, they have two sensors. They're basically glorified syslog collectors. They want everything. So we're a Palo shop. I thought they just wanted, a threat, vulnerability logs, URL, things like that. And they're like, we're not getting nearly enough logs. We should have all kinds of traffic. And then they said, I figured out that they actually want all the traffic logs as well, everything. So we gave it to them. Their job is to inspect that traffic and see what's going on and let us know when something is suspicious because we're not sitting there watching it 24/7. That's what they're for. In addition to that, so on your Windows side of things, on your domain controllers, they have an additional agent they have you install, plus NXLog, and to ship all of your stuff over to their sensors via syslog. The agent that we mentioned earlier, if you're familiar with Waza, it's basically Waza with their secret sauce on top of it. It's pretty small, but it requires 2 ports, 443 and 1514 outbound. So if you go to a place that has a pretty restrictive firewall, it is not reporting to Arctic Wolf. I think they might be working on that though, because the Mac OS agent that they're releasing later this month only uses SSL. Oh, and the Windows machines also install Sysmon. For the cloud connections, they directly integrate with Microsoft 365. Like it says, that is not free. You have to pay additional for that, of course. They also integrate with the Sophos API, so that one is free, but there's a little bit of a lag in there. The endpoint will report to Sophos, but there's, I don't know, maybe an hour or so before we might get a notification of something. That's on the extreme side, the hour. And we are looking at adding Google into the mix. but that is also not free, so.
Right, there's additional costs. They're supposed to be getting me a quote on that. We didn't do that initially. We weren't as concerned about student email because it is separate from our regular faculty and staff email. And so we were concerned about these initial costs, being able to do anything. And so we thought if we need to exclude anything, let's exclude the Google Mail. And so we're looking at the possibility of maybe adding that on here after a bit, but I don't know what the costs are going to be yet. Our vendor says they'll make it very attractive to us, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Additional costs for articles, right?
What's that?
Additional article costs?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sorry. They have, it's not really a marketplace, but they have a lot of cloud providers that they connect to, including CrowdStrike, which I thought was a little weird. Yeah.
Give us a rough idea what the cost was on the connection to 365?
I don't remember specifically for that. The total cost was just a little over 400,000, and that was for 4 years. I don't know what portion of that was for the Office 365.
Are you on what e-license level are you at?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Is it by volume, how much you're ingesting, or?
It's actually by your user volume. Yep, yep.
I think that's one of the reasons why, well, never mind.
In fact, I hesitate to say this, but they have told us that we are under licensed, and they think we should buy some more licenses, but they're covering us at this point, so I'm not terribly concerned. So,
Let's see. So there were some things that we really wish we knew when we went into this from a technical side of things. We were getting, I don't want to jump the gun here. Can I tell them? We've received about 4,000 emails since February when we started this, late February, since we started this.
Incidents.
Yeah.
a ton of false positives.
Yes.
And so we've been working to tweak the system ever since the beginning. And we think we're getting pretty close now. Much fewer false positives.
So it's really tuned for business, and we have a lot of international presence, and if you're a business, you probably don't want international logins, so they send us an alert every single time. Somebody logging into Office 365, ADFS, I don't think Google was on there, but
Duo.
Duo login.
Yeah.
They monitor the Duo logs.
If somebody was connected to a VPN when they connected, we got an alert because their geographic location and their IP location didn't match. If a user typed their password and got locked out, we got an alert. We changed groups a lot in Active Directory. Hey, this might be an issue that you want to look into, you know. So there was a lot of tuning that I wish that we, oh, yeah.
Sorry, just another question. Do you guys work in any country, like, let's say, you know what I'm talking about, those countries?
Yeah.
Blocking those?
We do not block
Anyone?
anyone. If for those that don't know, probably most of you know, we have 2 partner schools in China, and China is a high alert country. That we were getting notifications for every user that was logging in from China, and we were overwhelmed.
Every student.
Every student.
Every student.
Every new student.
We've got faculty members there. We got an email for every one of those logins, and that was a high alert because it's from China. And we're going, well, for us, it's really not a big deal. And so,
But
we filtered those out now.
in abundance of caution, you want to investigate them because maybe it was, an important account or something. But each one of those emails triggered a ticket that we would have to respond to and tell them to close it.
So how many people?
Over 4,000.
We'll have Jason show
Yeah,
you.
he'll show
Yeah,
you.
we'll go into the dashboard.
That's why I looked at him. I was like, I don't want to jump the gun.
A wonderful dashboard.
We'll try to have some time here at the end to go into our dashboard for a little bit, and he can show you kind of what our tickets look like.
So again, the taps were active. That was annoying for me. But probably the one thing that we found that we still can't wrap our head around is they cannot alert based on an attribute. They can only suppress an alert based on an attribute. So we only cared about certain accounts who logged in maybe from outside the country. We wanted to know when it was. So we said, hey, if we put these people in a group, can you just alert on them? And they said, no. But if you put everyone else in a group, we can suppress those alerts. So we ended up creating a group and adding 92,000 accounts to it, which triggered a high number of AD group member changes to work around that situation. And it has worked. It's
Worked well.
worked really well. So, but I kind of wish we had that in place from the get-go to avoid those
Yeah, the first
high
month was
number of
awful.
emails. And I think that's pretty much it. All right. Over to Jason.
Okay, you can drive.
All right. This is what our Arctic Wolf, they call it the unified portal, looks like, and it kind of gives you a view of all the metrics that they collect and a quick view of your tickets, of course. Those are the main things that we look at every day, or what tickets came in, priority, medium, high, or severity, medium, high, or low. And like these fellas said, when they first turned those sensors on, we had hundreds of tickets per day, or thousands.
Probably thousands.
Yeah,
the first few days.
it was overwhelming. And so what you do when you receive one of these tickets is you view it, and it actually we'll find one here. For instance, these Office 365 restricted logins. If we look at this ticket, it gives you all the information you need to research this user, see what happened, where it was, location, when did it happen, and they kind of guide you through what they recommend that you do with the ticket. In order to close those tickets, we had to say suppress this permanently, because if we didn't say suppress this permanently, then they would respond back to the ticket. Should we suppress this for a certain time or permanently? Because we do have staff that travel, of course, and it's nice to get notified that, hey, this is a staff that's usually in-house, but for some reason they're in Cambodia, so we'll contact their admin assistant and say, are they truly there? And they'll go, yes. So then we can reply to that ticket and say, suppress this until May 30th. And after May 30th, then they'll start reporting on that again. So you can set your time blocks for people that you know are going to be out of the country, which is really nice.
Does it automatically send them an email to you, or is this just internal?
It's all internal, yeah. And here's the mind blower right here. This observation pipeline, and this shows, and you can change this, but it just shows for the past 72 hours, it's analyzed almost 800 million events, and of those, 9 million interesting events. So it shows you that those sensors should be overheating. And it gives you an instant view of if your sensors are healthy, how many agents are out there, and those agents on the desktops, on the endpoints, how many are disconnected. So you can keep an eye on those numbers and see if something drastic changes from day to day, which is nice.
On the high severity alerts, we also get a phone call too. So, as you can imagine, yeah, doesn't matter what time of day, they'll call.
Right, if there's something that's drastic, we'll get a phone call, and it always comes from the same number, so we can save that in our phone and not worry about getting a loan approval or anything like that. You can look at your telemetry management, kind of gives you an overview of kind of what you see on the dashboard there, but it gets a little bit more granular, I suppose. It shows you all your log sources, where they're coming from. And of course, an agent's, which that's pretty good, only 24 need attention. Those are probably new deployments, possibly. I don't know if you've
A
ran
lot of
into
those are
that.
firewall issue
Okay,
for 15, 14.
gotcha. This flow data is interesting, but before I do that, I want to take and show you the managed security awareness dashboard, of which we only use the email phishing campaigns, and we've run 2 campaigns so far. And the first one that we ran, we didn't have some allow lists edited yet, so everybody got 100% on that one. We didn't have anybody click on that because the emails came through and the images were taken out, and you had to click to say show images. So hopefully our users are trained good enough to know that that's kind of a determining factor on if they should look at those more closely. But the second one that we ran, 1,567 were sent. 10 people, which is only 1%, well, actually less than 1%, clicked on that. So I think the industry standard is about 4% failure. Yep. So we're pretty happy with that. And you can get a report on who did it and go out and slap their hands. We don't slap their hands, but we may in the future. I'm excited to run some more campaigns and
We
see.
send out a daily email with announcements, and we're thinking maybe we incorporate that into those daily announcements. And we'll identify those people. These people clicked on a bad link.
Right. Yeah.
With pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Wall of
That's
shame.
the kind of
Yeah.
thing we're thinking.
Right.
Somehow I don't think the administration will go for it, but that's what we're thinking.
You can invite into the.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, actually,
I don't
if
think
they
the
click
image
on
shows
it, they get another email for
The
this.
image
how it'll
doesn't show
trade
on
it.
it, which is weird. I don't know if they already got rid of them. Yeah.
WSU is using a different security awareness training solution other than this, right?
Fort Hays, yeah.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
using SANS.
Yeah.
We're using SANS. for
Sans,
security awareness
Litmos.
training.
Yeah.
Though, if they click on one of these links, they're one of the 10 that click on the link, they do get a second email, and it provides a little short training clip to them. So, I don't know.
Like a minute. Yeah, it's
They're
real
very,
short.
Very short.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're actually targeting it right then. It's very timely.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
Is that customizable, that, when they, you know what I mean, that little training?
At this point, I don't believe it is. They have their campaigns, and you can choose to run them or not. And you can change the schedule so your learners don't learn that on Wednesday they're going to get a weird email and they're going to click on it on purpose to be famous or not. So
And to be fair, we're still learning. So,
go back to the main dashboard here.
So this was just included in the MDR product?
yes.
Well, this is included in the managed awareness module, I guess you could call it.
Right,
Which,
which was actually supposed to be a separate cost, but again, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but they did throw it in for us.
Right.
So if you bid it out and say, well, 4 days, it right in.
right.
Yeah, you didn't hear that from us.
No, this isn't being recorded, right?
Is the training IT, just IT training, or does it involve other trainings?
As far as I know, it's just IT related.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, Litmos, SANS, they do have other trainings available.
Yep.
I
That's what
I
we
do
use
know
for our
that.
main security awareness.
And of course, that's all at a cost, so. Why can't I get back to the main page here?
Oh, I think that is your page that it's taking.
Oh, here we go. That's because, and this new, that's why I couldn't go back when I clicked on Arctic Wolf here. This is still under their old portal. They have a new portal that they designed, and so they haven't got this particular part under the new portal, which is called the Unified Portal, which looks like this. And we get 3 reports. I'll show you the reports that we get. We get a monthly one and then a weekly one. We get an Office 365, Microsoft 365 report. Weekly, we get a weekly security review, and then we also get monthly what is called an external vulnerability review, and they all contain different data. The Microsoft 365 contains as far down as even it will show you if a user has shared a file or a folder externally with somebody. It's all in the reports, and we're going to work with them. Actually, we had a meeting with them yesterday as far as making these reports smaller, because I think if we look at the external, I think it was 70-some pages. Yeah. It gives you kind of some high-level graphics to look at, and then it goes right into all the meat and potatoes here. And what affects your score on the dashboard, the risk score, is every month, I think towards the middle of the month, we just learned yesterday, they have a third party that they use, and also they scan the dark web for data breaches, and they consider those high risks. So they will give you a list of every user that was included in that data breach, which is a lot, and most of the time these are very old accounts that they might have been from a year or 2 years ago. But we can definitely look for privileged accounts in those and see if anything pops out. It's as you can see, there's lots of falses in here, and that's what we discussed with them. Is we only want to see the stuff that we should be concerned about. So they've been really good in working with us and really responsive on the next one we get is hopefully not going to be 77 pages. It'll contain the relevant stuff that we want our eyes on, so we don't have to scroll like that.
That report also scans services that it detects. So, like we had somebody who had a Raspberry Pi that was running a radio station, and they hadn't touched it in 2 years, and it showed up with several vulnerabilities for the services that it was using. So, it's not just, hey, this port's open. It's this port's open and it's vulnerable to this.
So you don't need to run any Tenable scans or anything? This takes care of it?
At least from an outside perspective.
Right.
They do have internal scanning, but they warn us it's in-map based and it's pretty intensive.
How good are they at recognizing backported patches?
Backported patches?
Like how sometimes like Red Hat will do backported patches to address certain vulnerabilities, but the banner will still look like they're still vulnerable.
That's a very good question. I don't know.
Yeah, good question.
I'll have to ask them about that, because now I want to know.
And if you notice, it shows our coverage score as being 75%. Well, one of those reasons is the in-map scanning that we don't do. So that kind of affects your score. This kind of shows how they compile that score. They give you ticketing 15 points, incidents, monitoring, and if you have any incidents that are high, it'll count against your score. So, and it says it shows the industry averages for education is 77. So we feel like we'll be able to get above that once they get to know us better and we can communicate our needs with them. So
Yeah, and they said if you get even a single critical bang on your external vulnerability scan, then you get a 0.
right,
So,
yeah.
What else could you see in the Office 365? We saw the sharing and then
Let's
something
pull
else
that
that
up.
was
It's
kinda cool. I showed up on the sharing report.
here's our newest one. And I don't know if I asked them yesterday. We'd like to have a little bar over here that we can skip from category to category, because once you hit one, you have to scroll all the way to find the next one. What was it? Was it towards the top or the bottom,
Yeah,
Derek?
and those are, all the failed login attempts that we saw.
Yeah, it
that-
shows every one of them, which is a lot. Oh, here we go.
Tons
Interesting
and
location.
tons of detail, which in a way is good, but it's also a lot
And that's
to
why,
sift through.
why we've been working with them. This is tuned for business applications,
Yeah.
so we still have to work with them.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps an eye on your password policy. If it's updated, it'll alert you. Permissions, of course. Users locked out.
Yeah, we're basically 3 months in from implementation, so we're definitely novices, newbies in our newness. But
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
When group users are
But that
moving.
75%, that was like good, you're getting C or C plus?
Ye-
Or is that like-
Yeah, we look at it as a,
I'm
We
not sure
passed.
how to read that.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, when the industry standard, they say it's 77, we're going,
Well, and that's because we chose not to do the internal scanning, so that still shows as a tick against us in that broad
We're
overview
hoping
of
in another 3 months that we're above that. We'll have more things figured out.
You have Derek in this.
yes.
I'm gonna get that up.
So there are two sensors that are collecting all the logs. Is it just a syslog instance that they're using, and do you have access to those?
It is just syslog. We don't have access to it, but they have documentation that tell you to log into your sensor and make changes. So
I meant more as like, so that you had a central place for logging that you could go to instead of having to go to your different log sources.
I see what you're saying. Not that we can log in and see, no, unfortunately.
It probably cost extra.
Well, we're
Any
getting
questions?
close to wrapping up. Do you have any more questions?
So, you talked about this ingests logs from a lot of different programs, but then there were also these sensor things. What are they taking in? Are they taking in like literally all the network traffic?
Literally all the network traffic.
At least to and from the internet.
Right. That's why the number of incidents that you see that it's investigated is so high. I mean, it's millions.
It's just the metadata, right? It's not just the packet capture. Looking at all that.
The port mirror is, they're actually collecting all of it. I know what you're asking, but I don't know if they're actually looking at metadata or the whole packet, yeah.
Is that doing DPI?
My guess is yes.
And then how that affect your performance?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
That's why I was very nervous about putting a tap in the first place.
Yeah.
But they said, "Oh no, it's like a nanosecond. Yeah, it's nothing."
You'll be fine.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I can't attest to what it
Because you
added.
paid all the big money for all those palos, right?
Yeah.
Bandwidth to burn.
And one thing that I asked before we brought them in was how much of a resource hog their agent was, their endpoint agent was. And they were honest. They said it did give you a hit, but Derek's been the one that's been deploying them, and I don't think we've seen any issues with.
No, not for performance issues. It does spike up to 30% or so every so often CPU load, but
Play nice with Max.
it has so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're deploying it with GM.
And you, and are you notifying your users?
Oh, heck no. Crazy?
Yeah.
Does this have any protection to stop users from removing or disabling it?
I don't believe it does.
Yeah,
I think they rely on the fact that they would not have administrative privileges on the machine. Yeah, I smile too.
Yeah, which is another mountain to climb.
But we do push it out to install every day, so if it still has our management agent on it, it'll reinstall within a day.
They probably already accepted the terms and conditions by just logging in, right? Probably that's kind of.
Yeah, we got a banner.
So do you know how much traffic do you handle every day? Like on average?
Like internet bandwidth, internet traffic.
Yeah, like all the traffic that you have per day.
I know the rate. I don't know if I know packets. Yeah, if you got to
Internal or external? Because I know
data
there's
exploration
a flow.
and then the flow data.
The flow data, yeah.
And I think you can look backwards
You might be able
over
to,
time.
if you've looked at that.
So these IP addresses here are actually research boxes that are constantly sending hundreds of gigabytes all over the world. Rwanda? And it does get more granular than this. Like, so if you wanted to break this down, pivot over, you can see the protocols. Let's go protocol. So these are what the volume, the protocols of what it's seen. I don't know. I think JetDirect is wrong. I keep seeing that. I'm like, no. And this is for the last 1 day. Yeah.
What's your bandwidth to the internet?
We have a 10 gig connection. Man, they're.
Do you have any automatic blocking features or anything?
Not that I'm aware of, but we have talked about remediation, automated remediation. So if we wanted to block something or something in our firewall, yeah. So, but we haven't gotten there.
We haven't done it yet, but actually just this week we've been talking about that, so.
Are the external scans credentialed? Probably not, right?
They are not.
No.
And you opted not to do the internals, but I would assume that would be an option.
Yeah, it is. The only reason we haven't done it yet is they want us to specify what subnets not to scan because it is intensive. And we're like, well, we don't know what we do want to scan then, you know? I mean, we have a lot of, you know, little piddly devices around that if you scan it with Nmap, they could crash and they just won't handle it.
Do you do any internal scanning without outside of market?
Very spotty. We do though. Yeah, actually.
Like for PCI stuff, obviously,
Yeah.
we have to do that. Vulnerability scans, internal,
They were, yeah.
they were. Okay.
Devin was running those, so
Oh,
we'll need to
okay.
look into that now.
Okay.
Are you doing SSL decryption?
No. I think about that a lot though. Like,
I do too.
yeah. Actually, is anybody here with Sophos customer? Are you guys using the SSL decryption?
No, I don't think so. No.
So ours just turned on by itself, and I went to.
So maybe we are using
You can tell it if you go to a website and you check its certificate, it'll say Sophos everywhere, every site.
Yeah, we noticed it pretty quickly.
Yep. We were like, nope, turn that off. So they do SSL decryption.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at though, doing first is just for our server networks.
That's what I was thinking too.
For the rest of the users, it's a whole other
Yeah.
conversation.
Yep.
That's why we don't do capital servers.
We actually, this is scanning our user networks as well. Yeah.
Do you do it over their Wi-Fi network too?
You know,
Just the wired
for our
side?
wired network.
Well, I think we're at time. Can we wrap up? If you guys have questions. No, I didn't say, come visit with us.
Yeah, if you want to see
Or
more.
see us at the dinner tonight, or, Fort Hayes will be out at the bars tonight. You can come find us there.